The hell is going on down in Fort Hood? Is it ever gonna stop? All that and more coming up. Hey, welcome to the channel, friends. As always, man, I'm stoked to see you. So, Fort Hood, Texas has gotten quite a bit of news coverage this year, hasn't it? And it's all warranted. Everything that's happened down there has been, has been a tragedy, right? Totally uncalled for. I mean, just out of control things and situations that should never have happened in the first place. And it's very unfortunate, and I feel really deeply for all the families involved and all the service members involved too that have been having to live through some of this. And I've been stationed at Fort Hood myself for I guess 3 years. And through the last dozen years or so, we had a couple shootings down there, and then obviously all the recent events. And it's going to make anybody wonder what the hell is going on in Fort Hood, Texas. Why can't we get stuff like this under control? It's getting so bad we're firing generals. And I think it's a good question, but I think in many ways it can be a misguided question. I say that not to take anything away from anything that's happened, right? Every case, every crime, every allegation should be looked into very specifically, but we should also look around ourselves first, because I think every post has its own skeletons in the closet. Even up here, at JBLM, we've had a pretty rough history of dudes doing some pretty nasty things while deployed, cutting fingers off and stuff. But I think it's to put things in perspectives. And again, this is not to take away anything that's happened, but I think down in Fort Hood, probably going to have 35-ish thousand people, service members, active duty service members, and probably going to have anywhere from 5,000 civilian employees, and then maybe 5,000 contractors, and probably a few more than that. So there's got to be close to 50,000 people who work on the post, and then you probably assume that there's at least another 10, 15,000, family members who are connected with all of these people as well, and maybe even more. And then you're in a town that has, I don't know how big Killeen in the greater areas anymore, but it's got to be 50, 60,000 people. But Fort Hood all by itself is just one big, large city, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. And we like to think, and I know that why we're so disgusted is because we feel and think that service members have been vetted, right? They've all been trained. They've all gone through some sort of basic training. And they have instilled in them Army values, and we think that we're all better than this. But it's unfortunate that that's not the case. Because humanity and the darkness and the demons that we deal with doesn't go away simply because we put on a uniform. So we need to take this into consideration when we start judging places that we may never even have been to. It's righteous to want justice for victims of violence and oppression. But it's not righteous to judge in a lot of ways that I think we have been judging. So like my time at Fort Hood, Texas was a great time. I was very fortunate to work for some really good people, had some really good people in my charge, and I deployed with a lot of really good dudes. So I'm really happy and stoked for the time that I had there. I know everybody can't say the same thing, but I think we're going to find that regardless of where we're actually being stationed or assigned to, at the end of the day, it's not about the place, it's about the people that we work with and work for. That's what makes the biggest difference in the world. You could be at Fort Drum, you could be at Wainwright, You can be in Korea. You can be anywhere. If you work with good people, you're going to have a good time. And so that's why, as a part of my initial counseling, I was just counseling a brand new soldier who was sitting in my office yesterday. And I was talking to him about the pride that I take in our organization. You know, and knowing that, because I do. I brag a lot about my soldiers and about my company. But the truth of the matter is, there's no actual difference between my company and any other company in my battalion, or even, you know, the Army. I didn't get to pick, right, who comes to my company. I take who I'm given. And I boast about them. And I tell them all the same thing as I told this young married soldier who's just reporting in. That I want in 10 to 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when we've all but forgotten everybody that we served with and served for, and when we look back on this time in this company, that it puts a smile on our face. And too many times it's dudes like myself who rob people from that passion. You see, because I know that the soldiers having the hardest time in the military right now, that when they watch a movie like Black Hawk Down, hairs on their back starts tingling. And I'm passionate about trying to reconnect with that and put drive and action back in those feelings so that we can take pride in what we do. I know that doesn't happen everywhere, but I think it happens more often than we want to give it credit for. There are a lot of really good people and a lot of really good leaders who are out there. And there are a lot of really good soldiers who are following these people. And unfortunately, we have more than one. One is too many, right? And we do have more than one leader who does not act that way. We have more than one soldier who doesn't act that way. We all need to fight towards reconciliation and justice in all of these cases, in all of these areas. But know that, you know, as we're moving forward, just take a little pause and understand that you know, your organization, my organization, and their organization, wherever there is inherently not any different, man. Humanity has all the textures of dark and light that are interwoven through all of us, and have a little compassion for people who are dealing with times of injustice and violence and oppression, and rejoice for those who are going through a good time. And maybe we can continue the conversation and work with one another as opposed to against one another, and we can come to find out that there's some really good stuff out there that we can celebrate. I think there's probably more stuff out there that we can celebrate and find in common than we give ourselves credit for. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the quick conversation about a really tragic place down there. If you did, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell so you can stay up to date on some future content. And as always, until then, man, you stay out there and you keep grinding.